Spud Point Marina, fuel dock, over.
This is Spud Point, I'll be at the fuel dock in 10 minutes.
Roger.
That's how you ask for gas around here. There's a feather floating past. There's always something to shoot at, and shooting at the water is fun because even when you miss what you're aiming for, you get a nice cool splash. It's entertaining. There is a lot of wildlife around. I don't want you to get the wrong idea that I'm taking shots at anything that's alive. I'm literally shooting at bits of seaweed that are floating past and feathers and stuff like that. So there's a feather off the starboard stern. I missed. Damn it. Ooh. Safety first when you're shooting catapults. I felt it snap a little bit and it's about to break all the way, but that band set is finished. This is a slingshot from Simple Shot, and basically to change a band set, all you do is pop out these plugs like so. This is now garbage. And you go find another set of bands somewhere. So here are some new bands. I buy them in these from China on Amazon. About a bag of, I don't know, 25 of them cost like 10 bucks. You can also tie them up yourself if you want to, but I find that it's not much fun tying this stuff up. I get more enjoyment of shooting than I do playing with rubber bands. So fresh bands. Oh no, it went away. Oh no, it's still there. You probably can't see what I'm shooting at, but there is a patch of algae moss floating by, like a submarine running on the surface. Bullseye. So again, I'm shooting clay balls. Get these on Amazon as well. They cost I don't know, it's probably like 15 bucks for 3,000 of them. So you get quite a few. Buy a box of them, you have them for a while. And yeah, this is one of my hobbies, shooting stuff. Direct hit. I got that moss right in the belly. So yeah, before I was living on a boat, I was living out in the woods, and I did a lot of archery stuff, and was actually teaching archery for a while, and really love the art of instinctually shooting. And that's what I'm doing here, is instinctually shooting. I'm not using any sights. Basically, I'm looking down the band and I am looking at the target with both eyes and making my calculations and shooting instinctually. And I think that, like, as a meditation, and that's kind of what my practice is when you sit here and shoot for a half an hour or an hour, it's about centering your mind and ridding it of all the different problems that are going on and just focusing in on what you're doing and trying to hit the target. And there's something very ancient about it. That's why I do it. It's the art of shooting something instinctually, shooting free throws. There's lots of people who go out and shoot hoops to blow off steam and or meditate in a way, and that's what I'm doing here. Why slingshots and not archery? Well, imagine imagine doing archery on a boat like this. You wouldn't have enough room. First of all, you'd have to stand out on the deck with a big old bow and arrow. You'd shoot your arrows, and then what, you'd have to go pick them up somehow. Like I mean, I guess it's possible. I'm curious about it. There actually is quite a history of archery on boats that nobody ever talks about, but sailing is a lot older than gunpowder and firearms, so there is actually a history of archery and boats. But yeah, it's just a little too much of a hassle for me to shoot arrows. Each arrow costs 20 bucks, so if you lose them, that's 20 bucks. The slingshot is obviously made out of like rubber bands and plastic, and you can make it out of just about anything. An old inner tube tire, you can this one costs $25 on simpleshot.com. It's a great website. Simpleshot.com is a great resource if you're interested in getting into this sort of thing. They have all kinds of slingshots. I think this one was like 25 bucks, not very expensive. Like I said before, the bands another 20 bucks right there for a bag of a bunch. And then the ammunition, you can use lead weight or lead balls, you can use steel, you can use all kinds of different projectiles depending on what you're shooting and why you're shooting it. For me, just shooting at like literally lumps of seaweed and stuff that floats by, clay is the way to go, because I'm not littering heavy metals into the water. They're just going to dissolve. Slightly different angle for you. I'll aim for some stuff that's like right in here, nice and close. Maybe you'll see it. Nothing floating by, so I'm just shooting at water. All in all, slingshots are way more accessible than archery. Maybe not as sexy, but I think it's pretty good. Well, since we've gotten this far into it, we might as well give you a quick tutorial on how to shoot a slingshot, since I don't want anybody seeing this video and trying to do it wrong. Notice that when I shoot, I anchor, I pull the bands back to the corner of my mouth, right there, and lock it into place, right at the corner of my mouth. Some people will shoot and they lock it into place right there at the corner of their eye, so they're literally looking straight down the rubber band to sight in their target. But that's extremely dangerous, because these rubber bands eventually are going to break. You saw one break earlier. I switched it out. They are the weakest link in this whole endeavor, so you got to be careful. And when they do break, what they're going to do is they're going to come flying back to wherever you're drawing back to, obviously. And if you're really close to the eye, then you can get smacked in the eye, and that is not fun. So that is one of the main reasons that I draw back to the corner of my mouth. The other reason is that with archery, the draw and everything on a slingshot is exactly the same. With archery, for years and years and years, I would draw back to the corner of my mouth. So it's all similar to archery. There's a safety element, and there's another element as well. There's a beautiful crane that just flew by. We have these blue herons, I guess they're called here in Bodega Bay, and they're just really beautiful. So yeah, that's there's lots of different styles as far as slingshot shooters are concerned. You have different draws. There's the standard draw, which is what I was doing earlier, and then there's what's called a butterfly draw, which is where the shooter will push and like hold the rubber band past their face, and they just touch the rubber band as it stretches past their face to their cheek, and then they get a longer draw, more power, faster projection speeds. But again, when those bands break, because they're usually holding that rubber band right close to their cheek up there, they have a good chance of getting hit in the eye. And so it's a personal preference. I prefer shooting the traditional way. Notice how my thumb is pushing on that bottom fork, and my top finger is curling over the top fork, and I'm just bracing the slingshot in my left hand at 90 degrees, not up and down, but 90 degrees over. And I have a very light grip on this whole apparatus. I'm not squeezing it to death. I'm just lightly holding on to it and making sure it doesn't twist this way, or I don't push it that way. I'm keeping it nice and flat, just like that, okay? And when I see what I want to shoot at, like there's a little white thing right there, I basically push that front hand towards the target, pull the back hand towards my anchor point, find the anchor point, look straight down the rubber bands, and let it fly. It's very therapeutic. There's always anchoring in that same spot. For me, it's basically the top of my thumb is right there in the corner of my mouth, which is directly underneath my dominant eye, which is what I aim with. Let's do a little. There's a couple different ways to load one of these suckers. The main thing is that when you're loading a slingshot, you'll notice that the bands, okay, they go over the top. See that? They go over the top of the actual fork itself, okay? So when I pull back, it's pulling over the top. If I turn this whole apparatus around and was pulling that way, eventually, maybe not on the first shot, but it's going to pull that plug right out and my bands are going to come off. So I want to make sure that I'm always shooting over the top, like so. We'll show you how to do a two-handed load, and then I'll show you how to do a one-handed load. Two-handed load is obviously where you're going to start. You have the slingshot in your pushing hand. You're shooting, you know, so that's my left hand. I kind of have it there lightly, and what I do is I pull the pouch over, and I just put it between my thumb and that little middle finger right there. This is on my left hand, and I just hold it in place just like that. Then I grab, I guess I could stand out here. Oop. Then I grab one of my clay ball ammunitions. I basically put it right in the middle of my pouch, and I hold it in place with that thumb, just like that. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. Then with my drawing hand, my pinching hand, I come in from behind and I pinch it up over that ball, just like so. And it's important, I don't want to pinch in front too hard. I don't want to pinch behind. That one's not going to work. It's going to come right out. I want to actually pinch the ball itself, but I have a nice light pinch on the ball itself, just like so. Pull it back to anchor, let it fly. Okay, so if I wanted to do this with one hand, meaning that like I basically have my slingshot hands is not changing on the slingshot itself. I got a nice grip on it. I don't want to lose that grip. So what I do is, first of all, I make sure the bands are over the top like so. I've got a few balls or a few ammos in my hand, right? I take one between my thumb and my forefinger, just like that. And I place it. See how the rubber band's on the back of my hand, just like this? I'm just kind of at ease waiting. I take the ball, I put it on the pouch, and I pull it back into the pouch itself. So I'm putting some tension on there to keep the ball in place. And then I bring it around to my middle finger, which is standing by doing basically nothing. I bring it over there. I pinch down against my middle finger. I don't know if you can see this. I pinch down. See that there, pinch down against my middle finger like so, remove that forefinger, wrap it underneath, and now I'm ready to go. While I was doing that, I noticed that this length of rubber band right here is starting to come apart, just like that. I don't know, I maybe got 50 shots out of this band set. Sometimes they don't last that long. I have had these bands in this, they've been packed away, but I've had them for a very long time. They're a couple years old, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on that sort of thing, because that's how you get hurt right there, is by not noticing, and then that's snapping forward and smacking you in the hand, or something worse. I'm going to change this band set. Okay, I'm just going to go over the 2 ways to load a slingshot again, because I just watched the tape and I didn't like how it came out. So first way is the double-handed way, and I've got my slingshot in my left hand, just like so. Pull the bands up over the top like so, just like we talked about. I'm going to pinch or hold on to the pouch with my left hand, thumb and forefinger just holding on to it and keeping it in place. And then I'm going to add the projectile, put it straight in the middle, and then pinch it with just the 2 fingers like so. I'm just holding on to it at this point. And if you notice, like, the bands look like they're all tangled up, but if I straighten them out, they're going over the top in the right way. They're already laid out. So then what I do with the other hand, that's why it's a 2-handed method, is I come behind the actual pouch and I pinch like so until I have my pinch, just like that. Draw the corner of my mouth, let it fly. Okay, now we're going to do the one-handed method again. I did it once, but again, it didn't come out that great. Hopefully this one will come out a little better. I'll try to hold it in ways you can see it. So one-handed method means basically I'm doing most of the work with my right hand, and my left hand is just holding on to the slingshot, really, keeping the bands nice and straight. And once I'm done shooting a shot, my bands are usually over the top like that. So I want to bring them over the back, over the top of the slingshot. Then when I've got some shot in my right hand, I'm going to put a single shot into the pouch like so, and I'm going to pull against it with my forefinger just like that, okay? All I'm doing is holding that ball in place by pulling back on the actual rubber band itself, okay? Then, and this was the tricky bit, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to put the ball and the pouch on top of my middle finger. It's right here, kind of curled up, okay? Put it on top and pinch down with my left hand, or pinch down with my thumb. Go away, fly. Pinch down with my thumb, just like that. So again, exaggerated motion, just so you can see. Pull with that forefinger, keeping the shot in.
All stations. This is United States Coast Guard Sector San Francisco. United States Coast Guard Sector San Francisco. Coast Guard Marine Information Broadcast, listen channel 2. Okay, so I'm holding that shot back with the finger like so. I take it to the middle finger like that. I pinch down with the thumb, and then I wrap that forefinger underneath the band and get it into place. Boom. Okay, the reason we do all this stuff and to do the single-handed method is because ultimately it's a lot faster, and you can shoot a lot faster by doing it with one hand. Draw back to anchor, let it fly. Push with that pushing hand, find that anchor spot right in the corner of your mouth, and let it fly. Push, pull, find your anchor, push, pull with the anchor hand, find your anchor, look down the bands, let it fly. Alright, well, thanks for watching my little brief tutorial on how to shoot stuff with a slingshot on your sailboat. Again, I'm not condoning any kind of violent behavior. I don't approve of anybody taking pot shots at living things unless they're aiming to kill it, and I hope you're not aiming to kill things. So yeah, thanks very much for watching my brief tutorial on how to shoot a slingshot on a sailboat. And if you'd like more information about it, you could ask a few questions, I suppose. But also check out simpleshot.com, which is where I got this slingshot, and it's a good place to start as far as getting set up with your own slingshot if you're interested in this sort of thing. Yes, I'd like to thank my patrons for helping make this kind of content possible. I don't know if they realize that I'd be making content about slingshots, but yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you're interested in helping out by becoming a Patreon, that is awesome, and you can find a description in the link below. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes, and I'll see you next time.